So I had to talk about this one because I just heard of an article. I don't know how old it is. Maybe it's a couple bit. I'm still sick, by the way. I better do this one before I forget about it because I remember it. You didn't realize it at the time, but when I was younger, um, going on dates and all that, and on average getting stood up 70% of the time. Generally, girls were rude or impolite or so, and it never dawned on to me until I was older. Like, who the hell raises their daughters this way? And it did get to the point where, God, I think just shy of 30, I was like, it was already old hat to meet the old man. Like, oh, you have to meet the old man. I wanted to go meet the old man and start interrogating. Like, okay, does you gave your daughter money at 27 years old? Did you teach her she's daddy's little princess and she's from a suburb and oh my god, bow down and worship to her? Like, did you just leave her unhinged? Because this was, I know it was after the other girl, because there was more than one that threw a freaking tantrum in my car. The one because I didn't offer to buy her a soda when I went to pay for gas. And I started like, who the hell is raising these girls? Well, come to find out, especially after the advent of asshole consulting, nobody's raising their children. They certainly weren't teaching girls etiquette, tact, decorum, civility, politeness, forget kindness, just, punctuality. Oh, God. And so I thought maybe it was just due to my location, the prestigious suburbs of the Twin Cities. So special. Everyone's special. Everyone's a princess. The everyday I need attentions. Well, then I saw another article of there's two, and then it reminds me of a third anecdote. And I'm going to leave this for a lesson for you fathers out there. I know you're not going to listen. I know you're all ball of sacks of what you're American men, right? You're American fathers, right? All right. This is academic because ain't none of you got your balls. I mean, heaven help you if you raise your daughter. Heaven help you raise your. I don't need, God, I don't want you to start raising your children. Then I wouldn't have a job. Where was I going with that? Then I'll have a lesson for you fathers out there, in an academic theory as to why you might want to heed this. So the straw that broke the camel's back was, I heard so I was reading an article, I forget where, maybe it was It's a Gundam, and there was this girl live streaming, or maybe she wasn't live streaming. Her father passed away. Her father was a billionaire for some other such thing or another. And she was, I guess, biracial. And all she did was talk about how her dad was an oppressor and the white devil and this and that and that and this. I'm not looking up the article because I don't have the voice to go through it all. There was then more recently, or shortly after that, an article on Fox News about this family that had to pay a deprogramming specialist, like brainwashing deprogramming, to deprogram their daughter after she attended Holyoke University or Holyoke College or whatever worthless East Coast college is out there. Because she went in, nice girl, and and she came out this man-hating feminist and looking to be offended and victimized at finding offense and victimization in everything. Those are fun people to hang out with. That they needed intervention, and you do. You absolutely do need deprogramming because you sent them to an indoctrination camp. Am I so old school? I'm like, you shouldn't send your kids there. I'm like, excuse me? Yes, you in the back, sir. Aren't they 18? Well, yes. Well, they're not kids, right? Well, what are you sending them to school for? Well, nothing's too good for daddy's little princess. Here's all the money in the world, sweetheart. Well, who are you dating my daughter? I'm the guy who works a job, you son of a bitch. You want to give me can you give me literally 1/100th of what you gave your daughter? Like I could make that last an entire year. I'm the guy who would have taken your daughter off your hands if you played it right, but you made her so insufferable. She's yours for the rest of your days. Anyway, the article was about how they had to deprogram this girl. But I was always of the, well, why do you send you? Shouldn't they send themselves to the college? Why don't you make them pay for it? That's how old school Cappy is. We have old, I wouldn't say good men. I'm not a good man, but independent one, yes. Real man, yeah. One of the last, as far as I can recall, find out. Anyway, so they and I was just like, what? Forget the argument. Why are you sending your adult child anywhere? Why would you send them there in the first place? I keep asking, why are you sending your kids to college? And I got to go back. Oh, the third story, almost identical to that billionaire one. There was this, the guy didn't pass away. There's a mixed race couple. Guy was white, woman was black. The two daughters went off to college. They came back and they're like blaming their dad for the evil white man. And it's like, this is your dad. You're half white. Shut up, Obama. See what I did there? Because he's half white. That's the funny part. That's the funny part. But oh, did he claim to be black that entire time? That's anyway. So let me explain something to you, men. I know I can't say that. Let me explain something to you, American fathers, about your daughters and your sons as well. But I don't know what it is with American men and their daughters. Like, you guys just give them absolutely everything and then end up why they become insufferable, spoiled bints. Look it up. It's an Australian term. Um, you it's it's not Captain Renault from Casablanca because he knew what was going on. I'm shocked to find gambling going on in here. But you're actually shocked that when you send your kids, generally speaking, but in this case we're talking about daughters, to institutions that are just nothing more than political indoctrination camps, especially if you're sending them to a liberal arts college where there is no redeeming education, no real education going on. It's just you're just paying for their 4-year party for them to get dicked by a bunch of guys, and you'll ignore that. And then they have you not seen the professors? Have you not seen these schools? This isn't like a new thing that happened last week. This has been going on for at least 30 years now, 20 years clearly, and the past 15 very clearly. You send them there, and you're surprised after the first semester, they come back and they're all brainwashed and indoctrinated and chopped off their hair. And that's where I found that the image for the thumbnail. That's a popular meme that was going around a couple of years back, where you had all these girls before and after feminism or when they went to college. They were, I think they took their high school pictures, a pretty normal looking girl there. And then the tattoos and the face and the fat and the glasses and all that other stuff. And I don't know, are you guys that naive? Do you think, well, my daughter wouldn't fall for that? Well, none of you raise your children. You don't teach them independent thought. You don't teach them critical thinking. You outsource your kids to the schools all the time anyway. You don't even raise your own darn kid. You ship them off to daycare. You try and pawn them off on your grandparents. There's no raising of the kids going. You're so uninvolved in your kids' lives, and you send them off right to school at 5 years old. You're surprised. I used to, and maybe I should be a little bit more understanding. I used to not understand how people could be brainwashed. I'm like, people can't be that dumb. Holy cow, people can be that dumb. They can really be that dumb. And if they don't have their you're like, in times past, the father, which is why I don't dare call any of you guys, the father would be the one to teach children resilience, how to fight, independence. Some, of course, the mom would teach ethics too, and like don't punch your brother, that kind of thing. Which is like, why? Because would he like it? There's a mom always taught you some ethics too, I guess. But that's been gone, right? Because you had to go work all the time and whatever. Happy wife, you had to get an SUV and happy wife, happy life. And I'm sure, no doubt, your daughter's just better than everyone else's, right? Your son is just, your genetic material is just better than everyone else's. I'm not saying you shouldn't love them more than everybody else. They're your kids. But morally, ethically, your children are just better kids because they're yours? No. Matter of fact, Your absentee fatherhood, your absence of fathering there and holding them to standards and not treating them like they're precious little princes and princesses of the suburbs made it that they're insufferable, pretentious assholes. The ones that would go to a Holyoke or a McAllister or a Middlebury, where they come out and the whole world's like, what a bunch of assholes. And not good assholes, like really snobby, have no sense in the real world. So you don't do nothing to raise your kids. You don't instill any defense mechanisms in. You don't teach them independent thought. You don't teach them to be independent minded. You don't teach them to be empiricists. You teach them not, probably because you yourself are dumb. You don't know. An MBA, that's what I need. And a boat. No, why don't you just take your son fishing off the side of then my neighbor won't think I have a big penis. I need to show him I got a boat. I think you just should take your son fishing. No, I need a boat. And wife needs a new kitchen. That kitchen was just done 2 years ago, but she doesn't like the specks of gold in that particular granite. I can't imagine why your kids turn out to be pricks. So you send these, what would be called completely malleable piles of clay to the schools. There's already a little shaping going on there in K through 12. Then you send them to college, and then you're shocked. Your daughter comes back after a semester for Christmas break, and she's lecturing you about how many of that has happened to you guys? I got it now. Like with the billionaire guy, I can see it totally. He was like some billionaire guy, probably got himself a young trophy wife, died of old age. He's got some young daughter. I know you guys, he didn't do any investing in the child. Child's probably striking out. Has nothing to do with her being black or anything like that, or not even necessarily there going off to college. That's just, I hate dad because he was never there. Oh, where was I going with that? Give me a second. I'm not on my game with this cold. Stuff at the college. Come on, Clary. You can do this. You used to be able to do this like last week. Oh, so you send them off to college and they come back yelling and lecturing you about socialism and feminism, and you're the devil incarnate in the patriarchy and all this. You're like, what happened? Well, you weren't a dad. So let me explain to you why your daughter, in the cases exemplified beforehand, will all of a sudden seemingly put their politics ahead of their love for you. And all of a sudden you're the white devil and you're part of the patriarchy. You need to repent and all that. Why they won't talk. Let me explain to you. It is because their fear of work is stronger than their love for you. And that doesn't necessarily just include daughters. The fear of work is stronger to most people than their love for anyone else. Look at how humans just try to avoid supporting themselves any way possible. Okay, gold diggers. They oh yeah, I love you. No, your fear of work is stronger than your love for that man. What else? Your fear of actually going and getting a real engineering degree, or as opposed to an MBA, and you're going to borrow the money to impress your wife or your girlfriend or girls in general. That's more powerful than any love you have. You just don't want to work. If you really cared about the person, you'd work hard and you would not fear the labor. But you see, when you send kids off to the colleges, barely any of you taught them a work ethic or why you should work. Right? Hey, it's important. You got to support yourself. Otherwise, you're going to be constantly begging for food and living off of government aid. You'll never get more. I mean, you'll get by, but it won't be a great life. And let's just admit it. As a child, you're not working, and the concept of working for the rest of your days suck. But it's a reality you got to teach your kids. But you don't teach them that. If anything, You've taught them victimhood. They're great. They're amazing. They're Jessica and Jason Christ from Winnetka. They're going to save the world. Follow your heart. Money will follow. Nothing's too good for my princess. So they actually got it in their head that they could get by and not have to work for a living. They'll major in something cheap, something easy, and then they'll go get some nonprofit job or something like that. Then they get to college. And there is this religion, is basically what it is, philosophy, ideology. I'm going to call it a religion. It's called leftism, and it's you're entitled to free crap because reasons. Various forms and colors of that reasons. It could be because you're this type of race. This is why the Democrat Party focuses on race all the time. Your particular gender or sexual preference, mental disorders, not really there yet. They'll be getting there. Or just rank and file classist warfare, where the evil rich capitalists have all the money. That's because they worked, but they did so unfairly. No, I think they came here as immigrants pretty poor and they started from nothing too. Yeah, but we're disadvantaged for reasons. That's where you sent them. You sent them to that indoctrination camp. And that indoctrination camp plays on that fear, which is more powerful than their love for you or anyone else, that they don't have to work. And if they got that prospect, they don't have to work, they will believe whatever the reason and rationalization is behind that. And as it pertains to women, what do they do it? Feminism. You're part of the patriarchy. You're oppressing them. You, an unconscious institution, whatever they call it. And then your daughter comes back and she's got the attitude that you owe her and you've oppressed her and you've oppressed all of her friends and you're evil. And she doesn't have to work and you really ought to feel guilty. Had you just been a dad and taught your daughter the value of a work ethic and why she should major in STEM or accounting and fall in love, and that love is more important than politics or leftism or socialism or communism or any kind of ism, and that it is family and love, not necessarily family, but the love of others. If you had taught them that the whole point of a job, the whole point of going to college is to get you increase the number of dollars you could charge for an hour of your labor, so that you could then go and live life, you would have had a daughter. You would have had a son that would have said, "Thanks, Dad. You taught me right." I didn't want to believe that at first, but you taught me right. And I invested my time in whatever. I became an engineer, a diesel mechanic, whatever they became. They're not living at home. They're not bitching and whining for more money. And they would respect you and they would love you. Why? Because you've eliminated that fear of work. You've made the fear of work less than their love for you. And so they'll be like, "Well, I don't like to work, but Dad he equipped me. He enabled me to have a work ethic so I know how to do this and do it the most efficient way possible. Asians are great at doing it. Hey, you're going to major in these things or get the F out." Gee, I don't know why Asians make more money than everyone else. I don't know why they're more successful. It's a Scooby-Doo mystery. But when you do nothing, those basic human programming, laziness is probably more powerful a force than sex. If laziness was less powerful than sex, people would be in shape and having sex. But obviously, men and women are more lazy than they are horny. And you failed to prepare your daughters, in this particular case, to slay that beast. And so what do? There's college. And the left knows this. They know everyone's lazy, and that's what they play off of. They just tailor it. "Oh, you're a female? Well, did you know your dad's part of the patriarchy and you're oppressed?" So come Christmas time, or in the case of these two articles and the one story I heard, they don't give a damn if it's your genetics. They don't care if you're their dad. They're more afraid of work than they are going to be in love with you, not in that sense, but loving you as a father. And so don't be surprised when Daddy's little princess comes back looking like a truck accident. And so I think it was the one that the Fox News story where the gal had to be deprogrammed after attending Holyoke. And I'm like, are people really that dumb? And I'm like, yeah, they are. I remember this. I remember like talking to these dads. I thought they're, oh my God. Talk to Chad Elkins and the Cuddle Wookums dad. Cuddle Wookums dad thought Cuddle Wookums was this great thing. It's like she's a genuinely worse than worthless person. She's a parasite. You think Cuddle Wookums dad taught her anything about work ethic? All he did was, it's right there. He just sent her off to some liberal arts college. Learn to hate people and men. Oh, okay, now date one and tear up Aaron's buddy's Chad. Do you think she loves her dad? Do you think after sending them to an indoctrination camp where, among other groups of people, they teach people to hate, they teach women to hate men, and I don't know if you guys knew this, your fathers, that would be including you. They're not good. They may not outright hate you, but they're not going to respect you. And here you dopey American Fs called American fathers. Oh, I don't get it. I just sent off my little princess over and she came back all hate-filled with purple hair and 38 pounds heavier. And then I don't know, is your wife would divorce you if you told your daughter like the truth and told her to shut up and get a real job and no, you're not going to that college? No, I'm not paying for that. You're going to go into the military, get the GI Bill and go into something sensible? Is that what it is? So is your fear of getting divorced? Oh, and before you say, well, that's kind of cowardly on the girl's part, their fear of work is more powerful than their love for me. Oh, so your fear of getting divorced is more powerful than your love for your children. Or maybe you're just too lazy too, because to be a real dad requires work and telling your kids the hard truths. Maybe how that laziness thing works. It really is a powerful force. Anyway, just so you know, right? If you haven't figured it out, like I see so few real dads in America, and it's great. It's great because your kids inevitably come to me. They never got to figure out, like, this isn't working. Why don't hey, website, assholeconsulting.com. Take a look, read it. Let me tell you. Oh yeah, see, here's how it works. What did my dad tell me? I don't know. You're probably yelling at him, threatening child protective services on him. I don't know. Probably was going to get divorced. I have no idea. Anyway, it doesn't matter. They didn't tell you. So here for $49.95. Anyway, so there you go. That's why you're the problem. You screwed up. You didn't prepare your kids for the real world. And then you send them off to college. You outsource them like you did all the other time. You outsource them to daycare, outsource them to schools, outsource them to college. They come back and you're surprised that they believe in an ideology of parasitism and theft. And the reason is patriarchy. And some of you are going to lose your daughters for this. And I wonder how much more common it is, because there's a lot of those before and after pictures. I'm wondering how many fathers lost their daughters once they sent them off to college and they came back with know-it-all attitudes. And you dumbass, ballless, spineless, worthless sack of filth, you guys still paid their way through college. She's just going through a phase. If I wouldn't pay any of my kids' way through college, but if I paid any of my kids way through college and they came back with attitude and lip, I'd be like, oh, is that how it is? Really? Okay, well, and I wouldn't tell them. I just not make the payments, tell them, yeah, he's not going there anymore, cancel it all, change. I'd probably even move. I'd pick up my stuff. I tell wife, we're moving. Why? Pack up the stuff, we're moving. And then I'm like, yeah, well, you apparently found an ideology where you don't need family or friends or love. And I'm all the cause of your problems because I was born with a unit. Well, let's see, have fun. Bye. I'm just removing the patriarchy from your life. That's what you guys should do. Oh, but she's my daughter. It's my blood. Oh, I can't do that to my little baby. Is the fear of having an uncomfortable conversation with your daughter more powerful than your love for your daughter? It is now, isn't it? You worthless sack of filth. So I can't. I'm kind of like, it'd be great. Like, you get the high school picture. Like, oh, let me see you. Yeah, is that your daughter and your son? Oh, look, what grade are they? Oh, he's a junior. She's a senior. Cool. And then some random person girl walks. I'm like, who the hell is that? That's my daughter. What the hell happened to her face? Well, she just experimenting. There's no well, it's college. I was crazy in my college days too. Well, whatever there, buddy. Whatever you got to tell yourself. Dang, I wish that was dollars. 20,000 Indonesian rupees, IDR. Is that what it is? Enjoy this third world currency, Cappy. What is from Pew 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 IDR? Is that Indonesian rupee? Indonesian rupee, man. Look at Cappy go. Holy cow. Man, that currency has taken since the Suharto regime. You think I don't know anything about Indonesia? Let me tell you. Used to cover them back in the late 90s. Wow. Like one, how many zeros? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. I got to remove 4 from that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it's like a $1.50, I think, if I did the math right. Maybe it is a third world country. I thought Indonesia was kind of on the up and up, like it was a solid second world country. X van, $5, 50 Shades of White VW Cabriolet. Oh my God, are you old enough, X Van, to remember the convertible cabriolet girls? Are you that old? Oh, I remember those girls. Oh, they weren't in the movies or in the real world too. They'd have like the convertible cabriolet. Oh my God, look who's here. Coach Greg Adams, Mr. Pencil Skirt himself. Not that he wears pencil skirts, he's pro pencil skirts. Cappy has me laughing. Yeah, you're old enough to remember the convertible cabriolets, right? I guarantee you. Wow, that's a throwback. The convertible cabriolets. Woo! We're gonna get hairy bangs or poofy bangs. Sam Whiskey, the most American name in America, $10. This is for the dog of no real value. She will appreciate it. I did have to. We had to. Well, let me explain the ball situation. So, over at Walmart for $1.74, you can get a tube of tennis balls, 3 tennis balls, brand new with that nice smell. And there's one ball that was in the car that was only sort of dog slobbered on. It still had some life left in it. So I took the dog with no real value to the park yesterday. I was out. I was like sitting on the bench, kind of throwing it. And that damn dog won't bring it all the way back to you. Like you have to get up. It's like, dude, dog, I'm sick. Just bring it to me. Don't do this out of my hand reach and make me chase you like a woman. Just give me the freaking ball. No, she has to get her kicks. So I have to kind of chase her down a little bit. Throw the ball a couple of, well, then this is a dog park. So there's other tennis balls that have accumulated. And instead of the relatively clean ball, no, she's always got to go for the rattiest, nastiest, dirtiest, dog slobberiest ball. She brings back this brown. It's like, what's wrong with the semi-clean one we got now? So she inevitably went back to the clean one. And then I saved that one, but then she grabbed another one. That was okay, kind of clean. So I saved these 2. I washed them up. There's like a water fountain they got there because I don't want to be spent on it. But I was like, yeah, these aren't gonna last that long. So I got 2, but I got a tube of tennis balls, and so they haven't even cracked open that thing of it yet. But she'll love that. She'll love that a lot. Public nuisance, $5. Were you as uncomfortable as you looked when you were on Rolo's show in Vegas? No, I was not. I didn't feel that uncomfortable. People kept saying that. Looks like you're uncomfortable, and I wasn't. I felt fine. Maybe I looked unhappy. I mean, I don't exactly have the happiest looking face. I will say, after a while, I was tired. The girls, they were depleting. They were exhausting mentally. Because I'm an impatient man already, and I don't have time for intellectual dishonesty or avoiding the question, why did you go in a room full of women then? And like, okay, you got a point. The hope was that these were slightly older gals or significantly older gals, and they would not be as nasty or dumb as the other girls. But all it was sidestepping the question. Uh, I would grab my cap, put on my cap if I had one. I should have put a cap on. But what really did it is when these girls would just incessantly talk about themselves. And like you listen to what they were nice girls, don't get me wrong. But what they would talk about, you started to realize, oh my God, their entire life has been themselves. They know nothing outside of themselves. They know, and I'm not saying like selflessness, but that too, but it's all about them and their looks. I'm like, there's nothing about going fishing, or I specialize in playing the French horn, or I'm into cooking, or any other worldly examples they could loop in. It was they used everyone in the room and in the audience as like a kind of a big internet tampon, but also as a group therapy session. My journey and me, the pure example of solipsism in the sense that they are unaware that other sentient entities exist and that they're the only true independent minded creatures with a brain there. Everyone else is merely a highly active NPC. And that was where, like, I'm not a big radio show guy, but I do know podcasting and all that. Well, the audience is listening. Get to a freaking point or make it interesting, or make it intellectually engaging, some unique, because you're not going to sit here and listen for 2 hours. This is why I really like, pick on them all you want. Rollo's podcasts tend to go a little long, but the man says something most of the time, in there, maybe meanders around a little bit, but he gets to the point. There is something to be said there. That's also why I don't mind listening to Turd Flinging Monkey, where he also has incredibly long podcasts, where it could go for 6-7 hours, but he covers a lot of topics, but there's usually a topic there. Coach Greg, when he has his podcast, he talks about girls in pencil skirts. Okay, that got my attention. I wasn't listening. I didn't hear a damn word you said otherwise. Didn't hear a damn thing you said. Oh, but you said girls in pencil skirts. Now you got me. Are they going to get corporate lunch? Oh yeah. Okay, here we go. I remember working downtown in the 90s. I remember when girls were thin. But these girls are unaware that there are other people who have their time invested in it. And that after a while, and I had to go let the dog of no real value out. And then I also had a buddy that I had to let into the Southern Command. And I even gave Roll, I'm like giving him the time, like we got, because that gal, the one that talked the most, if you could believe it, she wouldn't shut up. I'm like, God, you've answered. Shut up. But that's that, man. If you want an example why you never date 9s and 10s, there you go. Like, they are completely unaware that other people exist, and they are not capable of forming long-term good relationships. They're just not. Absolutely not. So I wasn't as painted everyone made it seem, but looking back, I'm like, oh yeah, I do. And yeah, there was times where I'm like, I'm yawning and I'm bored. I'm like, because they're not saying anything. But I did not feel as bad. If so, I don't blame you. That girl next to you looked like a mannequin. Yeah, she had some plastic surgery there. Scrolling. Derek Yeager, $10. Get Cappy to 100,000, y'all. Goddamn. Yeah, if you guys kindly would, 195. We're almost there. And as I said before, people say, what are you going to do for 100,000? I'm going to stop requesting you subscribe to my channel because we'll be at 100,000. And then I don't have to do that anymore. I will also then start selling. I'll get back to seriously selling off my Carlson School Management degree. And yeah, so I'd appreciate it if you guys would do that. That'd be great. Thanks, Derek. Scrolling. Boom, there we go. All right, so link below. If you were a dad and you wanted to raise your kids right in America, raise your kids. Well, wait, Get wifey's permission to do it first, but only according to her rules. Get Sanity is the Future of Wealth. And then also get the book How Not to Become a Millennial, because the previous set of parents before you really screwed up the millennials by lying to them. Maybe you could learn from their mistakes. But if you're okay with your children ending up just like the millennials, being a 37-year-old living at home or begging for a student loan bailout, I mean, if you're okay, but that might require an uncomfortable conversation, and the fear of having an uncomfortable conversation with your child is more strong than the love for your child is. And I understand that because most American fathers are weak ass pussies. So you guys have fun when your daughter comes back and blames you for everything wrong and has a tattooed nose and all that, or whatever else the kids are doing. Oh, hey, and do me a favor, okay, fathers of America. You really need to pay for your daughter's top surgeries, okay? You really need to pay for that, man. All right? Don't say no. How dare you say no? That you just part of the patriarchy, right? I mean, you don't want to be unpopular and have your wife divorce you because you denied your daughter have the top surgery. When your daughter comes in and says she wants the top surgery, you break out that check and you get it. I don't care how young she is. You don't dare become a father and grow a pair of balls. We'll see you guys later. Toodles.